what kind of midah is that? Midah of remembering. Okay, but we'll see.
See, Yaakov, Zevi told me years ago, he says, Abba, you're obviously not a successful businessman because you didn't buy a Rav in Eretz Yisrael that you talked to.
But you see, that's funny. But you see from the Orchos Tzadikim that there's such a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
What should I tell you? Yeah.
It's Yaakov. What time are we doing tomorrow?
Oh, I forgot about that. Tomorrow, lift suspension is what time? Let's do 5 to 4.
I think it's at 4:18.
Look, candle lighting is 4:18. Oh, we do 5 to 4 is too late. 10 to 4. 10 to 4.
Okay, matzah.
Matzah, what did we do last week? 6:15?
Yeah.
Candle lighting is 4:16. 4:16.
That's for you, Naftali. That's for you. Everybody else is late.
Naftali, we want to make sure you're on time, Naftali.
Rabbi Brown says 4:16. Just saying.
Okay, 3:45, Shir.
3:45 is a little early, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll call it the 3:45.
Okay, Matzah Shabbat 6:15 we're doing, that works?
Yeah, 6:15.
Come in.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mincha by the signs on Shabbos is when?
Hold on, let's see.
Shir on Shabbos would be 3:15, but it's a Shem. 3:10. 3:10.
This is way too much.
3:10.
Way too much.
Yeah. Okay. So where did we leave off? Tonight is finally the night that we've been waiting, the daf that we've been waiting for. Or maybe some were waiting for the daf 2 days ago, parrots. But the daf, the kol nidre daf, hatoras nedarim kol nidre daf is tonight's daf. The machlokes that's in all the machzorim of how do you have the lashon of kol nidre and where does kol nidre even come from? Is in tonight's, right? Where did we leave off? I think we left off a little bit down Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, right? Yeah.
Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosef.
Rabbi Yishmael, yeah, thank you, right. So Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi, we're about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines out from the top. Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. So Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosef havalei nitra leMishna. He had a neder that he needed to be somebody to be mater to allow. It's also the command of the Rabanan. So he came in front of the Rabanan. Amrulei, they said to him, "Nedarta daita dahachi. Did you make a neder on the das of this, meaning knowing this?" The Gemara doesn't say what they asked him, but they were asking him, "Did you have this in your mindset when you made the neder?" Amar lahu, he says, yes, I had it. I had it in mind, and I still made the neder. Right? Nedarta daita dahachi. Did you make a neder on the das of this? Amar lahu, he said, yes. Kama Zimnin, and this happened many times. Given the Chaza who Katra, the Mitzari Rabbanon, since he saw what do you call it? A cleaners, Chabas Begadim, right? So Machyu Ba'ochla de Katri, he hit Rabbi Yishmael with the kli that they used to hit to knock out the water from the clothing, I think. Right? So he obviously was very unhappy with Yishmael. So Amar Adai to the Machil Katzer Le Nadri. So Rabbi Yishmael said, I did not make a neder thinking that this guy is going to hit me because of it. And therefore, B'shari L'nafshei, and therefore he mattered the neder to himself. Right? So I don't know what I'm not sure what went on over here. Was this guy an anti-rabbi guy or pro-rabbi guy?
Depends if you buy him.
Right? I don't know. So anyways, but that he was doing it, that was his Ataras Nedarim. So the Gemara asks, Amalei Ravacha we did Ravina, and Akiva brought this up last night. Hi Noiladhu. This is not a situation that the guy would have thought of when he was making his neder. Noilad, it was born. This is a new issue that came up. The Loi Masakadaiti, the Machale Katzra, when Yishmael was sitting at home and made the neder, whatever neder it is that he made, Right? He wasn't thinking, oh, this guy might come hit me with whatever it is that he hit me with. And we learned that we don't use a Pesach for something that was just born, meaning, I guess, something like unexpected. Meaning, we know what we're saying between yesterday's daf, today's daf, is that the first thing we try and do to get somebody out of a neder is to tell them, like, would you have made this neder had you known A, B, and C? So we're giving him a Pesach, an opening, which would tell him that I would never have done it. So here we're saying, he would never have done this neder if he'd known that this cleaner, this dry cleaner or wet cleaner, whatever it is. I don't think they had dry cleaning back then, right? But this cleaner wouldn't have hit him over the head. Because the Gemara is saying, yeah, but that wasn't something to be expected. So that's not, you can't call that a Pesach. So he said to him, I love noilad who. This is not considered noilad. The shchichi apikuri de metzai Rabanan. It was so common that you had apikaret. I'm assuming that's where apikaret comes from, right? It was common for apikarsim to that caused tsar to the Rabbanon, right? And therefore, when he's going to cause tsar to the Rabbanon, then he knew that somebody's going to hit him because he's doing this, right? So it was common enough. It was common enough that there were people running around causing tsar to the Rabbanon that somebody might actually defend the Rabbanon and hit the guy. So therefore, he should have known. It's not something so crazy. I can't say I understand exactly what's going on over here, but that's essentially what the Gemara is saying.
It sounds like
somebody hit the person who hit Rabbi Yishmael. That's what you're saying.
No.
The guy.
That's what you just said.
No, the laundry guy hit Rabbi Yishmael because he was defending the rabbis. He thought Rabbi Yishmael was giving the rabbis a hard time. So he should have known that anybody that makes the rabbis upset, somebody may come and smack him.
Right, Rabbi Yishmael should have known that there were enough apikarsim running around.
Why is this apikarsim if he's defending? I don't understand. What you're saying? You're saying Rabbi Yishmael looked like he drove a motorcycle, and he started up with people who were wearing halachos. So somebody went and defended them and hit Rabbi Yishmael. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what
something like that.
That makes a lot
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Why is it not exactly? Like that's exactly what
what you said. That's what he said.
That's what I think. I don't know whether you have another shot in this.
They saw a man agitating the rabbis. So he came and said, leave the rabbis alone with the stick. And he says,
why is Rabbi Yaakov calling him an apikaris for?
No. He's not an apikaris. Who? No, he's not an apikaris.
What?
We're asking a question that Rabbi Yishmael should have known. We're saying that Rabbi Yishmael, we can't say that we could be mater as neder. He was mater as neder. Why? Because he said, had I known that this guy would have come over to me and hit me with his tools, then I would never have made the neder. Right? That's what he had said. So Gemara is asking, it's such an oddball thing to happen. You can't be mater and neder based on something so strange to happen that never happens.
1 second. Yesterday, we said if you would have known that you're going to agitate the Rabanan, that's after the fact.
No, but that's you
to be matter the neder.
Correct.
And that's
the same
enough
thing here.
That's enough to be.
No, but that's so again. So that's Yanachanami. That's what Akiva asked yesterday. Why is that something that he would have seen? But I guess there's such a thing as agitating Rabbanim. But the Gemara is asking. But the Gemara is asking that why should he have possibly envisioned a guy hitting him that we could say that he's using that as a Pesach? So the Gemara answers, he should have envisioned it because there were apikarsim. There were so many apikarsim back then that people would make the rabbis crazy. So people would go hit the apikarsim. So he should have known that if he's going to make the rabbis crazy, he's going to get hit too. Not because he's an apikairis, but because the people that agitate the rabbis, these guys hit him. That's what happened. So he should have known that if he's going to make the rabbis crazy with trying to be mater as neder, they will hit him. That's what it's saying. I think. I don't know. I don't have any other way to understand it.
I think it was that rabbis expect to get hit. That's I think I learned. Maybe
rabbis what?
There was the opposite, that people like that rabbis can expect to get hit. I think that's why I heard it this morning.
So that's right. So that was my other side. That maybe it's the apikorsim that hit the rabbis. Right? That's what you're saying, doctor.
Yeah, I mean, rabbis, the Nazis started with the rabbis. I mean, the Soviets started with the rabbis.
Yeah, but
Rabbi Akiva wanted to kick the rabbis. What?
Right, but it doesn't fit into the words. It's Hailam, the Shrichi Apikari, the Metzari Rabbanan. There are Apikarsim who caused tsar to the Rabbanan. Right? So why should he have looked forward to getting hit? So we're saying, yeah, there was enough of these guys around that make them that they'll hit. Okay, I'm not sure. I didn't understand exactly what went on here historically. Okay, on to the next strange case. The Vizu de Abaya. So Abaya's wife, Havala Hibarta, she had a daughter, obviously that was not Abaya's daughter. Right? It was a second marriage, maybe a third marriage, who knows? But it was not from his wife. Who Amar Lekrivai Lekrivai. He says, let her get married to my relatives. He Amra Lekreva. And she said, no, I want her to get married to my relatives. Amar Allah. So he said, Abaya said to her, Titzra Hanasi Alecha, I am going to make a neder that you're not allowed to benefit from me. If you're over on what I said and you marry her off to your relatives. I don't know what would they say in chassan classes if a husband does that. Yeah, so Azlas va'avras al daita. So she went and she was over on his das. So she clearly did not care that he made this neder. The insava lekreva, and she married her daughter off to her relatives. Also committed to Rav Yosef. So now Abaya came to Rav Yosef. So now here's the problem. Now his stepdaughter did not marry his relatives, and now he lost his wife because his wife can't benefit from him. So he came to Rav Yosef to be matan and neder. So Amalei, Rav Yosef told him, "Ilu have yadas. Had you known the avras al daita chumentzav lekreva, had you known that your wife was not going to listen to you, meaning you thought you're the man of the house, you're going to make this neder, and she, of course, is going to listen to you. Had you known that she wouldn't listen to you, Mia Darta, would you have made the neder?" Omar, he said, "No, of course not. It would not have." So Rav Yosef allowed it. Right? Okay, I have no idea what the pshat in that is. Isn't that the whole point of his neder? Wasn't that the point of his neder? To get his way? And now he didn't get his way. He says, okay, so I wouldn't have made the neder. I mean, what neder can't you be matter based on this? Right? Okay, so the Gemara seems to ask that.
It's like the Mishna that said before that with the doing business. He says, I'm not selling it for less than 4.
You mean that's a different kasha? I mean, it shouldn't be there. But according to that, you shouldn't even need
the same kind of thing. His kind of thing. He was just saying it to get his way, so to speak. I'm not having the case here in the Gemara. He's not going to have anything to do with her.
Right, but then he didn't even need to be mapped.
It's the same mentality.
It's a negotiating
but according to
tactic. He's negotiating. He didn't actually.
1 second.
It's negotiating, right?
Oh, so that some of the Mefarshim ask, if that's the case, so then he doesn't need a heter of the neder. Remember, the Mishna says you don't even need it.
Yeah, you don't need a heter, right? Yeah, but I'm saying, but it's the same.
But that's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says he needed a heter. The Gemara says he needed a heter. According to what you're saying.
Yeah, but you see how you're playing it up. He says, no, if you would have known that. No, bother not. I'm just saying it to get my way.
Yeah. Okay. So then it wasn't a neder in the first place.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's okay. Okay. Either way, I hear it. It's a good order. So the Gemara asks, okay, mi shariki agamna? Are you allowed to make a pesach that way? Right. That's exactly, you're saying, oh, had the neder not come out the way you wanted, so would you have made the neder? Of course you wouldn't make the neder. Why would anybody make the neder like that? So is it really possible? So the Gemara says, yes, it is. But Tanya, we have precedents. We learned in the Brisa, Ma'aseh b'Adam Echad. There's a story with Adam Echad. Shehidir es ishtay milalas l'regel. He made a neder that his wife can't go up to yerushalyim. V'avar al taita, and she was over on his das, also l'regel. And she went up. Ubalaf neir Rabbi Yaisi. Amar loi v'ilu ayisi yadeh sheveres al taita v'ayla l'regel klum hadarta. Had you known that she would have been over, would you have made the neder? Amar loi. He said no. But Rabbi Yaisi, and Rabbi Yaisi said that it's okay. So you see that there is precedence for that. And therefore, it's not a neder. I have no idea. I don't know what neder you can't be matter based on this.
You're right. You should try this with Vinny. If I knew the Knicks weren't going to cover the points, I never would have bet $1,000 with you, Vinny. So therefore, I'm not going to pay you. Therefore, I'm not going to pay you $1,000.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get very far
with that.
You know what you're going to swim with.
I would tell you to circle back with us how that works out.
Yes, you're going to be swimming with the fish with that if you do that, right? So I understand. Like I made a neder that I'm not eating this meat because I'm going to get to it too fat, and then I eat the meat. Oh, it's not a neder. Had I known, I wouldn't have been able to control myself from the meat. I wouldn't have made the neder. Okay.
You have to be mat the neder beforehand. You can't eat it and be over the neder.
What?
You have to be mat the neder beforehand.
No,
he didn't go have enough from his wife.
No, of
he
course
went
he was waiting. Good. Okay, yes, of course that's not the case. But the same thing. I eat a different piece of meat, and then I say I can't control myself. I don't know. What do you want to say? Somebody want to say something? No. Okay. So yes, the Shulchan Aruch paskins like this in some way, shape, or form, but basically says that you don't have to make you don't have to. Had you known the results wouldn't have been what you wanted, then you would never have made the neder, and that's enough. Okay, I don't know. Fine. Zog the Mishna. Meanwhile, it says like you can't be mater neder. You're not allowed to use, a rabbi has to be very experienced in understanding nedarim in order to be mater neder. So far, I don't see what the big experience is that you need. I'm saying we pretty much pulled out every stop to be mater nedarim, right? So I don't know. In Shulchan Aruch, in my Shulchan Aruch, it's over 100 pages of hilchos nedarim, right? I don't know. Okay, next Mishna. Elazar ben Yaakov Af. So that's going to come on to play on Amud Beis. Even meaning, so he's adding on to the previous Mishnah. The previous Mishnah had said that there are 4 types of nedarim that people make that are not even nedarim, right? Like the Olam just said, Rabanan said, and Navi said about the making negotiations. That's not even a neder because it's just a negotiation, right? So Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is adding, saying, even somebody who wants to make a neder to make his friend eat by him, right? So he makes a neder, like if you don't come eat by me, you're never going to be able to drive my car. I don't know, whatever neder he says. So, and then he should tell him, Kol neder shani asid lidar hu batal. Any neder that I'm going to make from now for the future is going to be batal. But he has to remember when he makes his neder that he did an advanced nullifying of the neder, which is what we call meiser maidah. He's letting people know, which is the second half of what we do by Hataras Nedarim. Hataras Nedarim are Rosh Hashanah, so we read a whole long thing. Then the Dayanim read back Mutalach, or a fancy version of that. And then your makabel, that any neder you make that year is out. So essentially what Elazar ben Yaakov was saying is if you want to have a friend and make a neder, but not really make a neder, so you make the neder, and then you're Meiser Maidah and say, by the way, any neder that I made is not really a neder. So therefore, it's not a neder.
That's where the term beli neder comes from, and it works?
Well, beli neder is a little different because beli neder is shot that you didn't take it on as a neder. This one is you're not even saying beli neder. It's like, let's say you get up in the morning. This also could be used in business. You get up in the morning, you say, any neder I make today is not a neder. And then you go negotiating with people and make nedarim right and left. And they're all nullified because they never even got off the ground because you made this advanced a nullifying of the nedarim. Tibelin neder is if you didn't do it. So then when you say beli neder. So that's what he's doing here.
So Yaakov, I could call the bank and tell them that we're not paying the mortgages on those properties anymore because I made up that we're not making a neder today. How does that work?
yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. Yes. Yeah. Right? That's exactly what it sounds like. Right. So that's what the Gemara asks immediately.
Aaron, you see, that's what the crypto guy did 3 days ago. So he doesn't know anybody any money. That's what he did, the crypto guy. That's going to be his defense.
Well, isn't declaring bankruptcy a form of that? I mean, bankruptcy is not a Yiddish thing, not a Jewish concept. Bankruptcy, you owe the guy money, You can't just claim bankruptcy and that's the end of that. All right. Okay, I don't know if it's exactly the same thing.
That's all from bankruptcy attorneys.
Yeah.
Yaakov, that's what the beauty of an LLC is.
That's true. But anyways, so again, you invite your friend over, make a neder, and make a maidah. By the way, any neder I make is not a neder. But you have to remember that b'shas your neder, which the Gemara is going to immediately ask, because there's got to be something wrong with this Mishnah. It doesn't make any sense. He tells the guy that, and by the way, if you don't eat by me, I'm making a neder. You're not going to be able to benefit from me. But by the way, all nedarim I make today are not nedarim. So what are you scaring the guy? What's that going to do for you, right? Right? He's not going to listen to him. He's not going to come to him. Right? There's no neder here. What kind of neder are you making on Talmud Beis now? So clearly there's something missing from this Mishnah. So now we'll see in a few lines that this is not your standard Chesure Mechsera. Right? But Chesure Mechsera is like there's something missing from the Mishnah. So this is how you have to learn the Mishnah. If somebody wants his friend to eat by him, and he turns it down, and he makes a neder against him, nidre ziruzin, this is a neder of reason, because the only reason why he made the neder is to try and get the guy to eat by him. I'm sorry, that's it, period. That's the end of the first din in the Mishnah. Meaning it's an extension of the previous Mishnah. Right? The previous Mishnah said there's 4 things that are not even considered nedarim, and one of them is ziruzin. And then Rabbi Elazar Yaakov says, by the way, there's another form of ziruzin, which is when you pull a scam on your friend and say that you're making a neder on him if he doesn't come eat by you, and you don't have to keep that neder because that only reason why you had that neder was to try and get him to eat by you. So which the chiddush is that's not just in business that you can do this ziruzin. You could also use the ziruzin in order to get somebody to come eat by your house. Right? But then the next case in the Mishnah, totally unrelated, is yeah.
Is this supposed to be a mushal or something where we really care about this? Some idiot he makes a nedarim, some another idiot should eat in his house. Who doesn't want to eat in his house? Well,
I don't know. Yes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the relationships back then. I still haven't figured out the relationships back then. Yeah. You imagine a guy has to make a neder to get you to eat by him. Yeah, I don't even know what kind of food to expect. Yeah, but anyways, for haroitz, then the second case in that Mishnah is haroitz shaloi yiskayim neder of kol hashana. Oh, so now here's where we start getting into the Rosh Hashanah and to the Kol Nidre. And somebody who doesn't want his nedarim to be nedarim the whole year, Yamid b'Rosh Hashanah v'yomer, he should stand up on Rosh Hashanah, right, and say, Kol neder sh'ani asid lidor yehei batel. Any neder that I'm going to be making this entire year should be batel, right? Ubelvad, but sheyehei zacher b'shas neder. But you have to remember when you're making the neder that, hey, I remember on Rosh Hashanah I stood up and I said that any of my nedarim are not nedarim. Right? So as long as you remember that when you make the neder, when you're making your neder, then your neder is going to be null and void. To which the Gemara asks immediately, the simple kasha, is zacher, If you're saying that you remember, let's say Sukkot time, you're making a neder that you're not going to eat out of the sukkah, let's say, even drink. So you say, oh, and somebody says, oh, by the way, you nullified all your nedarim in advance on Rosh Hashanah. He says, yeah, I know, but I'm making the neder anyway. So then, of course, it's a neder, right? So how could that be that he
know that Rosh Hashanah was in the future? I thought it was in the past.
No, Rosh Hashanah. The first half is the past. The half that you say after they repeat is the future. And Kol Nidra, so then we're going to get into Kol Nidra in a minute, right? So the Gemara asks, Izachar, if he remembers that Akra l'Tanaya, he's Iker, he uproots his Tanaya that he made on Rosh Hashanah, B'kayim l'Nedra, and he has to be Mekayim his Neder. So it has to be the opposite. So abaya Tani Ubavad Shaloi Yehi Zachar B'Shas Neder. Abaya sticks in the word Shaloi. So now, according to this, we have a Mishnah's missing words, and Abaya says that instead of saying Bavad Sheyehez Zachar B'Shas Neder, he sticks in Bavad Shaloi Yehi Zachar B'Shas Neder. You don't remember it. Right? So, okay, that's Abaya's teretz. Rava Amar, but here it's interesting because Rava does not disagree with Abaya. Rava Amar la'olam kedamrina meikara. It's really the way we said in the beginning, right? That it's ubilvad sheyehei, that he remembers when he makes the neder during the year, even though he nullified them all from Rosh Hashanah. It works only if he remembers his neder. So how could that be? What about our kasha that if he remembers and he ignores it, so then of course it's the neder. So he has a strange case. He made a Tanai on Rosh Hashanah that none of his nedarim are going to be. But he didn't say it across the board about all nedarim. He said it about specific things. But he doesn't remember which nedarim he said are not going to be nedarim. Right? So he's stuck. Now he's making a neder. But he's not sure if he did the Meiser Maidah, if he preempted it on Rosh Hashanah. So Izachar b'shas haneder. So if he remembers at the time of the neder, and v'amar al dasar rishon neder, and he says that he's doing it on the das of the original thing, then nidareha lespe mamasha. Then his neder doesn't have any mamashas to it. But he doesn't say, I'm doing it with my das. Then he was Iker is Tanai, and he's Mekayim it. Right? Meaning, it depends on what he remembers doing or not. So if he remembers, and he says, I'm making the neder based on what it was that I had in Rosh Hashanah. Meaning he's saying that I don't want this to take over what I said on Rosh Hashanah. So if that's the case, it doesn't take it over. So that there's not a neder. But if he didn't say on Das Rishon and he said, no, I'm rethinking what I did, right? Since I'm rethinking what I did, the neder is a neder. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so that's Rava's teretz. Fine. So let's just go a few more lines and then we'll discuss the Kol Nidra. So Rav Huna bar Chinana Savar l'midrashe bepirka. Rav Huna bar Chinana said, I'm going to darshan the way this Mishna was learned in my speech. Pirka means in a speech, meaning that a person can get up on Rosh Hashanah and say any neder he makes the whole year is not a neder. So I'm really Rava, Tana kamastim lastumi. The Tana hid it, right? He did not want this kula being known, which is why he made the Mishnah so cryptic. And that's why we needed chasura and mechzura. So now people wouldn't just do this on Rosh Hashanah, right? And make this advanced hataras nedarim and then just make nedarim a whole year. So they purposely hid it in the Mishnah. And you're going to go darshan it. The rabbim, don't do that. So you see what comes out from this? A fascinating thing. Most of the time, a chisur and mechzura in the Mishnah is because the Messiah was lost exactly what the Mishnah meant. Here, Rava is saying that they purposely left out words in the Mishnah so that anybody learning Mishnayos will not pull out of this Mishnah this heter that you could just stay on Rosh Hashanah, that I'm not making any nedarim. Right? I don't think, as far as I know, we haven't had such a thing yet. That the Mishnah purposely leaves out words and making it a chesure mechsera, so that people, when they learn the Mishnayos, will not be able to understand from the Mishnah that you can do this shtick or scam. Let's call it a scam, just for clarity purposes. That you can get up on Erev Rosh Hashanah and say that every neder I make this year is not a neder. And then you can go running around town making the nedarim right and left, and they're all null and void. So they didn't want people doing it, so therefore they hid it in the Mishnah. The Gemara comes and says, by the way, the Mishnah makes no sense the way.
Yaakov, but we do that type of stuff with other things. Where you make a principle because you're trying to trick the system.
I think it's comments.
Get to correct, but nedarim, right? That's a true point. But we
do it at Rosh Hashanah.
Exactly. We do it at Rosh Hashanah. We do it more than that at Rosh Hashanah. We do it by kol nidre.
Right.
So yeah, but it's fascinating thing that the Chesure Mechzer was made on purpose, right? The Chesure Mechzer was made to hide this din from the Hamoinam. Now the Gemara went and spoiled it for everybody and said there's something missing here. But Rav Huna and Rava was very unhappy with Rav Huna that he was darshaning it. Yeah. So there, fine. So now. So that's interesting thing number one. Interesting thing number two is that based on this, we have a massive machlokes between the Ran over here and the Rush. Okay, you see the Pirush HaRush, it's massive. And the reason is does anybody remember the terminology of Kol Nidre?
Sure you do.
No, I don't remember it. Of course I don't remember it.
I'll take it. So Yaakov, if you don't remember it, how do you expect us to remember it? I'm just saying.
I have low expectations of everybody.
You want me to recite it right now? You want me to go through the whole thing? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for basically the Ran says.
Is that what's in parentheses?
Yes, exactly. So the Ran says that we're not, based on this Gemara, are we supposed to be mater our nedarim for the next year or not?
It's in parentheses.
Oh, exactly.
You skip the parentheses.
Exactly.
You skip it.
Right? We skip it. So we're paskening like Rabbeinu Tam.
We scan it with our eyes, but we don't say it out loud.
If that doesn't do anything. That's only by duchening. You're not supposed to know that. You're busy singing. Right?
What's in parentheses? What do you have in parentheses?
The way our Kol Nidre has it is Miyom Kippurim Zeh Ad Yom Kippurim, meaning that Haba Leinu L'Toiva. So according to that, our Kol Nidre is and that's the way Rabbeinu Tam has it, is according to that, we're being Moiser Maidah that any neder that we make this coming year is not a neder. Right? I'm sorry, that's not Rabbeinu Tam.
No, you didn't say Yom Kippur Shabbat.
No, in parentheses it says
Sha'ava.
Sha'ava.
Because parentheses says Sha'ava with a star.
So that's like the Ran. That's like the Ran who says that it's not, we're not Moiser Maidah based on our Gemara. Meaning this Gemara here, this last few lines that says, don't teach it in public. We're not supposed to tell the Olam that they have this scam, that they could nullify their nedarim from for the rest of the year. Don't teach that to them.
So we don't say it in Yom Kippur.
We do, but we don't.
We don't say that way in Yom Kippur for the next future.
We do. Yaakov. Yes, our Kol Nidre is for the future, not like this Gemara. I mean, like the Gemara, but
both ways. Even according to both, Erev Rosh Hashanah, we for sure do it for the future.
Erev Rosh Hashanah will for sure do it for the future,
but if you say it's for the future and it's for the past, then the next time you're saying it, it should be for only the ones that I overrode.
Yeah, that's true. Right, so that's another problem.
We really have to do Kol Nidre once.
He brings in English in the bottom of the marks that the Goyen and Rabbi Yaakov Emden both say it's past and future, both.
So you're doing both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but if I'm doing it for the future, then the next year, if I'm doing it for the past, why would I have
to? Yeah. That's true. So this
is where your Yotze Bote is. Your Yotze Bote is.
Right. That's basically you have to say it.
Your father said look how strict the Nedarim are.
Now the problem also is right. So the problem is that you need to do kol nidre. If you're saying it's on the past year, it's not the proper lashonis, right? But the Ran here says that what we do by kol nidre shouldn't be done. He just disagrees on the whole kol nidre, and he says it shouldn't be. This long Ran here at the beginning of the wide lines, if the other one wants to look at it, the Ran is anti kol nidre. Tosfos, though, the Tosfos on the right is pro kol nidre. Okay. So what about our Gemara? Right. So the Gemara says that's why we say kol nidre in Aramaic. Tosfos is saying because like this, the Amoratzim are not going to have any idea what we're saying, which is all of us now, because none of us ever. I mean, most of us never even thought about what are we saying here, anyways, right? Yeah, so okay, whatever it is, but that is the big machlokes from based on our Gemara whether there should be kol nidre at all, and if there is kol nidre, then you should whether it should be in the past or in the future. Yeah. Now, Lamaisa, what are we doing by Ataras Nedarim? And Ataras Nedarim, we are being matter. That's what Naftali was saying. By Ataras Nedarim Rosh Hashanah, we are being matter our future Nedarim. So Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach actually says in Halacha Shloima, and this is a great kula to know. He says that yes, we wouldn't let it work for if you make a real neder during the year. We wouldn't make it. We would not allow it. But he says, but somebody who does, what do you call Maisim Toivim? What's the lashon again? If he does Hanhaga Toiva. Shlomo Zalman says if somebody makes a Hanhaga Toiva during the year, like he does it 3 times, now he has to be Ma'at Neder. So for that, Rav Shlomo Zalman says you can be Saimach on this. You can, yes, be Saimach on it to say that you never intended for these things to be Nedarim. Right? He still says it's better to be Ma'at Neder, but he said that you could theoretically do this.
What are you giving somebody cigarettes? Is that on Hagga Taiva or not?
It's definitely not on Hagga Taiva. It's definitely not on Hagga Taiva, but I don't know if that's like a Loisa said on Hagga Taiva. The shaila is if you give cigarettes, you did it 3 times, is now. Yeah. Are you saying to give cigarettes, not to not?
To give cigarettes.
Oh, I didn't chop what you're saying. So to give that, I don't know.
Times a cigarette.
Well, I don't know. Okay, we have a few more minutes.
Is a get considered a Ma'at Neder?
You what, parents? You cut off.
Is a get considered like being Ma'at Neder?
A what?
A get. You give a get.
I can't hear what the guy
said. A get. No, he's unclear. A get. If you give a get, is that being Ma'at Neder? I mean, you're saying that.
If Yaakov Avinu gave a get to his first 3 wives, did he have to give to the 4th wife also?
What?
No, I think what parents. Do you mean to ask parents? Is that if you make a neder that your wife can't benefit from you and then divorce her, she's no longer your wife? That's what you're saying? I hear. Okay, let's see a little bit weiter. It's just because tomorrow's the extra 2 dafim. Well, we should be able. Let's start it. Okay, we'll just start the kasha so we can do it a little faster tomorrow. So he asked the shaila. So again, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov adds on and he says that to invite somebody to your house, you can make a neder all you want and then not keep it because that's being mezarazim. That's just like in business. You can negotiate and say that I didn't really mean to make a neder. I was just doing it for negotiation tactics. So Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says not inviting somebody to your house is also the same thing. So do they disagree with him? Or do they not disagree with him? If you say that they do disagree with him, is the halacha like him where you can invite somebody to your house and say, if you don't come to my house, I'm making a neder. And then we could say, oh, that's not really a neder because you're only doing it in order to get the guy to come to your house. Right? So now the Gemara basically goes through 4 rayas, 4 attempted rayas, till it finally proves its point. So let's just do one. Toshima Adatnan. Somebody says to his friend on Tamar Aleph now. Kainem she'eni nenelach. I'm making a kainem. Kainem again is a lashon and neder that I'm not going to benefit from you. If you don't take for your son a kur shel chitin, which is an amount of wheat, b'shtei chavi yashayin, and 2 barrels of wine. Sounds like if you don't, it's like a shalach manas. I'm making a neder that I'm not going to benefit from you unless you take this wheat and these 2 barrels of wine for your kid. All right, so the giving it for the kid is like as a chashivas, like you're willing to take it for your kid. So hareza yochel hater is neder shaloi al pi chacham. He could be mater is neder shaloi al pi chacham, which I don't know what that lashon is either. Gershon was handling this the other day. You're being mater the neder shaloi al pi chacham. So then why is it a neder? Is it not a neder? Right? Sounds like there's a 3rd category here. We said that there's a certain nedarim that you need a chacham for, which we don't understand why you need a chacham for it at all. But officially, you need a chacham for. All right. Then you have nedarim that are not anything, that don't need anything. They're not nedarim. Now this one seems to be in the middle. You have to be matar the neder, but you don't need a chacham for it to allow you to. Why are you allowed to do this? Because his friend could say to him, Klum amart. Why did you say that neder? Because you wanted me to be mechubed by taking your wheat and your barrels, right? So zehu kvaidi, by turning down the barrels and the wine, that is my covet. I got my covet from you. I was able to tell you, I don't want your barrels of wine, and therefore that makes me feel chashuv, right? You wanted to give me the barrels. Why? Because you wanted me to feel chashuv. I feel chashuv by turning you down and stiffing you. So therefore, you are making me feel chashuv. Therefore, the neder is not a neder, meaning your neder, you got what you wanted. Meaning, what was his neder? I'm making a neder that I'm not going to benefit from you if you don't take this from me. So you were doing it so that I feel good. He says, so I feel good. So gewaldig. It's not a neder. I mean, you don't have to keep the neder. Right? So the only reason why we're allowing this thing to go out is because he said, this is I got my covered. But if it wouldn't be for that, then it's a neder. So now that comes out that it's basically a guy made a neder trying to get somebody to eat from him. He wasn't talking about eating in his house, but he was talking about at least taking food from him. So then money, who's the Tana? If it's Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, it's a neder of Zrizon. And he doesn't need to be matter at all. So who must it be? It must be it's the Rabanan. And they disagree and they hold that making a neder to invite somebody to your house is not the same as making a neder in business. A neder in business is considered just for negotiation's sake, right? But to get somebody to eat from you, that's not a shtar's reason. So you see that they do disagree. So Gemara says, no, no, this is really Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, behind the nidra, that this type of neder, that this thing, it is a neder. Why? Because the one who made the neder can say, I'm not a dog. That I'm going to benefit from you without you benefiting from me. What do you think? I'm a dog? I'm a taker, as we call it? I'm not a taker. I'm making this neder legit because I don't want to be a taker. I want to be able to give you this wheat and these 2 barrels of wine because I don't want to be a schnorr. You are not letting me be a schnorr, then that makes me very upset, and therefore the neder is a legitimate neder. Meaning, Rav Shimon Elazar says, yes, to get somebody to eat by you, that's a neder to try and get the guy to come eat by you, but you didn't really mean it. But if a guy doesn't want to accept your present, then you get offended by saying to the guy, I'm a dog and I'm a taker, allow me to give to you. And since you're not allowing me to give to you, I'm making a legitimate neder. So Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, Taka holds that it's a real neder. Right? which just shows you there's sometimes, right? Sometimes taking can be the biggest form of giving, right? When somebody can take you, sometimes you take from somebody, but you taking is such a cover to the giver that you're actually the one taking, right? And then this just brings me to my mashal. I tell Chassanim sometimes, I say, if you want to have a good marriage, this is the week of marriage, right? In the Parsha, you want to have a good marriage, you treat your wife like a dog. Treat your wife like a dog, you'll have a good marriage. And if she treats you like a dog, you'll have a good marriage. Why? Because the dog is a taker and it's not a giver, right? So therefore...
How you go for walks.
Yeah. Yeah. So if all you're doing is you think that your wife is a dog and you're getting married, that you have to give. Why does anybody get a dog? Why would anybody get a dog? You get nothing in return from a dog other than companionship. The dog brings nothing to the table. If you go into marriage like that, then you have no problems. You're never expecting anything. Right? Here, the reason why they got this neder, got this guy in trouble, is because he didn't want to be a dog. Right? Anyways, okay, the Gemara will continue this tomorrow, these kashas. All right. Have yourselves a fine night.
When the dog keeps you up at night, barking away and yakking and all of that, what do? Throw it a bone?
Yeah, I guess. You could try. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Good to know.
You get it neutered.